tips for your relationships. 10 minutes. Hey, I want to talk a bit again about respect. Yes, we've talked about it before, but respect is kind of like one of those subjects that you just can't exhaust. There's always something more to talk about when it comes to respect. It's kind of like communication. You just can't get enough of it. Well, this week, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you, is it possible to regain respect for a person after you've lost it? Is it possible? And the flip side of that is it possible for you to regain respect when a person has lost respect for you? Well, yeah, it's something to think about. Because I'm sure if we're living and breathing, that we've positioned ourselves one time or another in this lifetime where people have lost respect for us for one reason or another. And you know what? It may not even be something that you did on purpose. You may not have had any ill intent at all. But you're human. You had a faux pas, something happened, and somebody lost respect for you. But I want you to think about it. Did that person were they ever able to regain that respect back? I was in a conversation with a person the other day, and we were chit-chatting, and she was saying how, she said, you know what? I remember back in the day, I was on a job, and I was trying to promote, but I had a reputation of being some messy boots. And, in that position I was in and trying to promote, all people saw was the messy boot side of me, and people did not have respect for me. Well, the people who had the power to promote me did not have respect for me. And she said something so key, and it made me just think. I was like, wow, that is amazing. And it really inspired this tip today. She said, I had to learn how to reinvent myself. She said, I actually had to rebrand myself. I had to start all over with how people saw me and how I presented myself. So, when we ask that question, is it possible to regain respect? Is it possible to see a person in a high regard after you've lost respect for them? I think it is. I think it's very much possible to do that. So, we know that one of the quickest ways to lose, or one of the quickest ways to destroy a relationship, is to lose respect for a person. Yes, it's the quickest way. I mean, among other things, when you're in a relationship with people, respect is one of those bigger things. It just kind of goes hand in hand with love and honor, and all those things that go into relationships. But it's difficult to be in a relationship with someone you don't respect. Very difficult. And we find ourselves having to be in relationships with people that sometimes we don't respect. So the question again is it possible to regain that respect? And trust me, as I sit here, I am really trying to talk myself into this as well. I just feel like anything is possible. And as far as relationships are concerned, if you have two willing people, a half of a willing person, anything is possible. Restoration is possible. But I'm talking about respect. So I want to ask you this. Do you remember that feeling of contempt, that feeling of disdain that you had, that shutting down feeling that you had when you came in contact with a person that you didn't have respect for? Yeah, those are the feelings that keep you in like an unhealthy emotional pattern. Right. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my emotions to run me. I don't want to be ruled by my emotions. I don't want to, what they say, always be in my feelings. No, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that person that's always in her feelings or remaining in her feelings about a situation that maybe I had no control over, or, maybe it wasn't my fault. I want to learn, just like I want to learn, or I want to be able to forgive a person again. I also want to be able to respect them again. And I think that just like forgiveness is a choice, I think respect is one of those things that can be a choice for us. So what happens is when we can't find a way to respect, or we lose the respect for a person, I feel like we're just kind of like stuck on or paying more attention to the faults, that person's faults or those bad deeds or behaviors that they had, that kind of turned us off, that kind of flipped our switch of respect. And that tends to like drain all the warm parts that we had, in our hearts for that person. We have control over that. Yes, we do not have to be in our feelings. We don't. We don't have to remain callous and cold. We don't. We can start looking and searching for attributes and things about that person that we can focus on now and gain that respect back. That's one way we can do that. So yes, we can learn to respect again. We can do it. Yes, we can. If we can learn to love again and we can learn to forgive, we can respect. But guess what? Just like forgiving is a choice, loving again is a choice, learning to respect again is also a choice. We choose to do it. How do we choose to do it? Well, let's think about it. In most cases, we didn't choose to disrespect the person. Some things happened. Stuff went down. Circumstances took place. And we felt like, I have no more respect for that person. But if we get stuck in that pattern, that unhealthy emotional pattern of feelings for that person, then we allow like I said, our emotions to rule us. We can turn that around. We can choose to control the narrative. Let's control the narrative. Because, when you lose respect for a person or you disrespect a person, let me stop here and say, when we lose respect for a person, we do not have to be disrespectful. I just need to put a pin in that right there. We do not have to be disrespectful. If you have lost respect for a person, there is a way that you can behave with that person that is so not disrespectful. Just chew on that for a minute, okay? Because sometimes we just lose our mind when we have no respect for a person and we just behave unseemly. Then we become disrespectful. Think about it. Okay, so now we're going to control the narrative, right? We're going to be in charge of our feelings. We're going to be in charge of our respect level for that person. So what we can do, instead of focusing on all the negative things or that negative thing that happened, why don't we just choose to focus on something good? Because guess what? I know that when you lost respect for that person, that wasn't the only thing that you loved and respected about them. They had other qualities. They had other things about them that you really did respect. So focus on one of those things. Like I said, change the narrative. So if that person told a lie, guess what? There are some other things about them that are really good. They have a great loving heart. They're a giving person. Focus on those things so that you can regain that respect for that person. You can regain that respect. Now, you may prefer to justify your reaction, instead of doing what? Taking the high road, instead of being the bigger person. Because I can hear you saying it right now. Why do I always have to be the bigger person? I don't know, you just do. We're responsible to be big people. We have to be big boys and girls as we mature and go through our journey in this life. Yes, you have to take the high road. You don't always take the high road, but it's inevitable that we do. It shows that we're growing. And not only that, it shows that we have respect for ourselves. So yes, choose to respect again. Find something good about that person. Don't just focus on that negative thing that happened. Find something else. And if you just can't find anything else, then, don't be disrespectful with that person. Let's put that out there. Okay? Now, the second thing, and I'm going to end here. This is going to be quick. Open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart toward that person. Just do that. Put yourself in that person's shoes as it relates to how you feel about them. Think about times when maybe someone lost respect for you and you really wished and hoped that they would regain it. Think about there were times when, you did something that was not quite so good, or so that was unseemly, or that was, showed some disrespect. Yeah, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We all do things we shouldn't. We all offend people. But the one thing that we can do is we can work like the young lady that I was talking to. We can work to reinvent ourselves, to rebrand ourselves. But we can also rebrand our respect for another person. You can do it. You can learn to respect again. Come on, be the bigger person. These are my 10-minute tips.